Right, hi lads and lasses, welcome to a very cold Manchester afternoon. I'm in the back bedroom in the old studio, as you can see. We've got no heating on at the moment, so it's bloody freezing. So I thought I'm not bothering putting my shirt on and that, I'll end up freezing cold. Well, you're probably wondering what we're doing here today. All of you guys out there, lads, lasses, everybody knows that I think there's a couple of odd situations going on with my health that I'm battling at the moment. And we're getting through, we're plodding along. So, after the run through of the Dynamite Dave way that I did for Christmas, because I thought a lot of people get dartboards for Christmas and what have you. We've got the World Championship, so it sort of like drives people's desire to play the game. So you can't do any better than setting off on the right foot, can you? And I've had loads and loads of comments on that video and on some others as well. It seems to have generated quite a lot of interest. So today's video is going to be a little bit of a questions and answers video. Won't be massively long, but you know what I'm like. We're going to have a bit of a waffle about stuff. I'm just going to try and put my feelings and my point of view forward as to what I believe the answers to the questions are. Seems very, very logical and very, very simple to me. So what we'll do is we'll get over into section 1 and we'll go on to them first questions. So here we go. Right, here we are over in section 1, and in section 1 we've got these little bits of questions and answers. So the first question comes from a chap calls himself at Sawdust46, and he says he's all right with the throat, he just has a lot of trouble with the release point. The problem that you've got with this, and it's self-explanatory in a lot of the different aspects of the game, is, from what this chap is describing, he's overthinking it. What he's doing is he's worrying about when he's letting go of the dart, and that is affecting when he's letting go of the dart. So if you do something naturally, forget about it, trust your body. As you come over, you just release the dart as if you were throwing a ping pong ball at the dartboard. So forget that it's a dart, forget how accurate you need it to be to play the game, and basically just throw it at the board. That's what you've got to do, is you've got to learn to let go. You've got to learn to trust your body. Overthinking things, we get it in all aspects of the game. I've got a really lovely chap, and he just overthinks everything, and he struggles really bad. He'll get he'll get into it, Dynamite Dave way, be doing it bang on for a couple of weeks, and then when he gets up one day, once something's different, because it hasn't gone wrong, it just means he's doing something different. What he does is he goes into a period where he spends 2 or 3 days changing loads of different things to try and put right one thing that's gone wrong. So if you've got X that's gone wrong, you can put A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K all the way through the alphabet into that one slot, and it's like a round peg it's like a square peg in a round hole. It just won't fix the problem. All it'll do is it'll just mess the rest of your throw up. So, as I've said on 1 in a million occasions, video yourself. You know what the Dynamite Dave way should look like. You've got it on video. You can go back and reference it off YouTube while you're actually watching yourself, and just look to see if you're doing it properly. If there's something in there that you're not doing right, then it's dead simple to watch it and put it right. If not, you know where I am, dj.llewellyn123@outlook.com. That's all you've ever got to remember. Either that or just Google it. Just Google Dynamite Dave. Comes up there with all my email addresses, everything. I think it might even have my WhatsApp number up there. So, just to recap on this first question, stop overthinking it. Stop trying too hard. Big slogan of mine, the harder you try, the worse you get, and there's never a truer word spoken. And you'll hear probably a few more of my sayings through this video. Right, so that was the first question. So let's go on to question 2. Right, question 2 is from Stephen Burton, at Stephen Burton 1897. And I did actually reply to him and say that I was going to make this video. So this is a big section for you, fella. This is just for you. Obviously for everybody else that's affected by it. So what he's put on here is I'm a 6-footer. When I stand up and I do the Dynamite Dave way, my arm's above my head, which it is with everybody. which means that if he was throwing straight, he'd be throwing right out the top of the board. And he says, how do you fix that? How do you adjust for that? It's dead simple. Dead simple. All you do is adjust down. Simple as that. You've seen it on the videos. If you go and have a look in the archives and have a look at the Dynamite Dave way, some of the later videos, so the more recent ones, you'll see on there how to move the DD throw around. Moving it about. So when you've got the Dynamite Dave throw and you're throwing at the 60s or the bullseye and you're starting to get that grouping, you're going to want to know how to move the Dynamite Dave throw around. We've set this up here now so you can actually see my hips, because this is the only place where we ever move from. So we set up on the hockey, we've got the dart up and we're looking at the treble 20. If we're going down for the treble 19, what we're doing is just look at the board at the treble 20 and fetch your body down, keep your eyes in the same position and just pivot from the hips until the treble 19 comes into the exact same view as the treble 20 did. So when you're looking at the treble 20, you're looking at the treble 19 in exactly the same way. So you've got your arm, everything in the correct position, and all you're doing is just bringing yourself down to the treble 19. So I'll do that from the side. So it's the treble 20 up here, and all we're doing is we're keeping the eye level and everything absolutely where it is and fetch everything down to the treble 19. And you're throwing in exactly the same manner. So all you're doing is just pivoting at the hips. What we'll do is we'll do that from this side now. So we fetch it up, we're looking at the treble 20, and all we're doing is focus on the treble 20 and then fetch everything down. So all this down, but only from the hips, and then you're at the treble 19, looking at the treble 19 exactly the same, and the throw remains exactly the same. So that's moving down to the 19s. Moving across the board, there's two fundamental ways that we do this. The first one, again, is the hips. So if you're on a combo shot, if we're going for a 1-5-2, so that's treble 20, double 16, we've gone 20s, 20s at the top, 20s, 20s, and then to come down, it's exactly the same. All you do is you come down to level with a double 16 and then across to throw. That will feel like really awkward and really strange at first, but in the end, you will know, like when you're at the double 16, you'll know where your body position is because you've been doing it a while and you know exactly where your body position is. So it'll be 20s, 20s, and you'll just go like that, bang, straight in the double 16. You won't need to do this adjustment. This adjustment is just till your body knows exactly where it's going, which it will do. It'll take a couple of months or something like that for you to perfect it, but eventually you will know exactly where your body needs to be. So you'll be treble 20, straight down, double 16. Now, if I want double 16 and I'm going for it with 3 darts in hand, it's a different story. What I'll do then is let me just move back here to the hockey for you. What I'll do is I'm now right in the centre of the hockey. What I will do is if I'm going for double 16, I'll move across. Now, if you can imagine your dartboard on the floor, you move across to where the double 16 is. And then all you do is you're just using that. So you're perfectly straight as if you were going for treble 3 or something like that, because it's straight and everything's straight and you've not had to twist. Double 16 is a cracking example because double 8 is just a little bit more arm speed. You're on double 10 with 3 in hand, you move across to the double 10, as I say, move across to the double 10, and then it's just your dead natural straight throw. And that is how to move the Dynamite Dave throw around the board. So the Dynamite Dave way works for all body shapes. It doesn't matter whether you're a woman, it doesn't matter whether you're a bloke, it doesn't matter whether you're 8 years old or 80 years old. It doesn't matter. It works for everybody. And that is why over the past, it's 13 years now, believe it or not, or just over 13 years I've been making these videos. And that's why I believe that I have actually found the correct way to throw darts. There's many people out there think you should just throw darts however you want to throw them, but it just doesn't ring true. If you actually think about it, if there's a right way to kick a football, so you've got a couple of lads and a girl or something, as you're fetching them up, doesn't matter whether it's a lad or a girl, don't really matter, because my daughter, I taught her how to kick a football. And we all know that there's a correct way to kick a football, don't we? You've got a ball and you don't toe bang it, and if you do toe bang it, you're never going to be a top line player, are you? You're never going to play in professional leagues. You're never going to be able to compete at any sort of a level. And I believe the same thing about darts. I believe that people, because right from the beginning of darts, right from time immemorial, people have just, and it happened to me, and it must have happened to you. It must have, people just still do this. What I was given for me, I think it was Christmas, between me and my brother, because we were born in the 60s, like, and so in the early 70s, we didn't have 2 shillings to rub together. The first dartboard we got was paper. It was a paper coil with some little brass darts, and they had their own shafts and flights already in. Bit like the axe ones now. It says things come full circle, don't it? But anyway, that's the way that it was. It was put up on the back of our bedroom door, obviously at the wrong height, but all we were done was, yeah, there's a set of darts, and you just fling them at the board. Don't matter how you throw them, you're doing all this sort of stuff before you throw it, because you believe that's how to get it to the board. Somebody gives you a dart, you just throw it at the board. You don't think, hang on a minute, there must be a right way of doing this. So what I'll do is I'll have a think about it. I'll have a think. No, dear, you just get on with it, don't you? Darts is an easy game to play when you can chuck the darts. When you get to that level where you can chuck them to a weak pub level, it's an easy game to play. It's a very, very difficult game to master. It's like chess. You get people who can play chess, and then you get people who can play chess. Chess, or chess, I should say. You get people who can play tennis. They can knock the ball over the net. You know, when you've gone to Butlins or wherever and you've had a go at the tennis and you knock it over the net 2 or 3 times. What are you in comparison to somebody who does it once a week, but does it seriously once a week, but is just an average Joe tennis player? And then what are they compared to the people who get up 2 hours, 3 hours before school or before work and go and spend 2 hours playing tennis? And then when they finish at night time, so we finish school, finish work, go back and play another 2 hours of another 2 hours of tennis at night time. How good are those people going to be compared to the person who just goes, and whenever he goes to Butlins and what have you, just has a smack over the net like you do? Same with golf. Like, you go and play pitch and putt, you like a bit of a pitch and putt game. But can you imagine the difference between that and somebody who goes and practices every week, 2 or 3 times a week, 19 holes each time? Some days they'll do 36 holes. They'll do 19 during the day and 19 during the afternoon, so morning and afternoon. And that's the difference in the levels of where you're going to get to. So yes, there's absolutely a correct way of throwing the darts, and there's absolutely a correct way of moving the Dynamite Dave throw around the board. And it's as simple as, from your hips, all you're doing is you're like a gun turret on a tank. So a gun turret on a tank moves this way, don't it? Yeah? The only difference is a gun turret on a tank, the actual gun moves up and down. You move from the hips and you move down. So what you're doing is you've got a line of sight between that dart that's at the side of your face. As you can see here, this dart, if it was in my hand, this imaginary dart, is lined up with my eye. So when I throw that dart, it goes exactly where I want it to. So I bring myself down to hit the lower parts of the board. I bring myself across to hit the other side of the board. And I bring myself up to hit the double top. Simple as that. Ain't that dead simple and dead easy, dead straightforward, just like the rest of the Dynamite Dave throw. So I'm hoping, Steve, that has answered your question, and no doubt there's a lot of tall people out there and short people that are thinking the same thing, because it's exactly the same if you're very short. I've got a lot of lady players that are around the 4'9", 5 foot mark, and they've been jumping up in the air, literally jumping up in the air to get the dart to the top of the board. It's not necessary. I've got a lass who, she must be 4'7", 4'8", tiny little lass she is, and she just throws exactly like I do. And all she does is angles herself back slightly as she goes to throw, and her darts go up into the double top, no problem at all. So it just shows it's all about technique. It's not about strength, it's not about muscles, it's all about technique. Right, so let's get over into the next question. So let's get over there right now. All right, well, this is a nice easy one. This is from Fitness 9861. Right, so Fitness 9861, the question is, Dave, I want to come down and get some one-to-one lessons with you. Dead simple. What I'll do is I'll play you a little bit of a video now, but simplicity of it is just Google me. So if you Google Dynamite Dave, you'll find my email address, dj.llewellyn123@outlook.com. Can't get any easier. dj.llewellyn123@outlook.com, or just Google it. Find my email address, email me, and I'll email you back with a full list of all the coaching that I do and the cost of that coaching. It's as simple as that, and I've tried to keep it, even though times are getting harder now, I've tried to keep it as affordable as I can. Right, so just do that, get in touch with me, come and have some one-to-one lessons. I've had people from all over the world. I've had people from as far away as Japan, China, Australia. We had Dragonfire over here from America only a few weeks ago. Again, that's the second time he's visited. And I've had other people from America, loads from Ireland. Seem to get a lot of people come from Ireland, and a lot of people come from the EU, the close EU proximity, so Germany, France, the Netherlands, Switzerland, all them sort of places. I get loads of people coming over from there. Right, so that's that little one. So let's get on to the next question. Right, now this is one this is one that I actually love, this one. I get asked this question quite a lot. And this question comes from Loco Supreme 9344. Seems like good advice, but I'm curious, what is his winning statistics on the Pro Tour? Now this is one of the actual questions. Like I say, it actually makes me giggle. For the simple reason is I chose to be a darts coach. Anybody who's been here for coaching lessons with me, been to the pub with me and what have you, they will tell you I can play to a very good level, a very, very, very good level when I'm on form and when I've been practicing. Probably as good as most of the guys you see on telly, and that isn't an exaggeration. It is not an exaggeration. The curious thing is, though, I'm not a dart player. I love the game, don't get me wrong, I love the game, and if I wanted to have been a pro years ago, that's exactly what I could have done. 13 years ago, I could have set out to be a pro, kept all my secrets, all my thoughts and everything to myself. And I could have just been one of these, probably, I would have said I would have been in the top 16. I can't prove that now because obviously time's gone by. And if I'd have took it up maybe more seriously in my 20s and 30s, never know, could have been a multi-millionaire by now. But to be honest with you, money doesn't matter that much to me. I've got a really good job, so I've got a nice house, cars, motorbikes. I've got everything that I need. I don't need to be a millionaire. I don't need to be travelling all over the world. And that's one of the things that, to be absolutely honest with you, that's one of the things that stopped me from being a pro, because I love my family. And I like being around my family. They're very, very important to me. More important to me than any amount of money that you could ask me to have. There's many a time when I've been asked to do overtime at work and I just won't do it. I won't do overtime. For the simple reason is, the time when I'm not at work, I spend with the people that I love. To cut a long story short, about 15 years ago it must be now, because I've had the channel going for 13. So it must be 15 and a half years ago now. Got a dartboard in the man shed. Started chucking darts in the man shed pretty regular. But I was absolutely garbage. Absolute crap. I was probably, in honesty, probably 30 average. 30, 32, 35 average on a good day. And for a 3-dart average, that's tripe, innit? So, what I did was, just happened to be ill off work. And I was talking to Mrs. Dynamite, who's Mrs. Dynamite, and she said to me, she said, Dave, there's got to be a right way to throw a dart. She said, you're an engineer, you've been a mechanic all your life. She said, you know all about mechanical stuff and all that sort of thing. She said the same thing as what I said earlier. If there's a right way, she said, if there's a right way to throw a javelin, if there's a right way to hold a cricket bat, if there's a right way to chuck a discus, If there's a right way to throw a shot put, she said, then there's a right way to throw a dart in there. And it just went, ding, of course there is. There's got to be, hasn't there? I climbed up into the loft. And I got my action man out. And stood my action man up. Obviously, as you remember, he's got a bit of a finger ball socket for his elbow. So I got him up in position. And I got his legs. And I couldn't make him balance on one foot like I was doing. Because that's what it is. There's a lot of people who lean forward and they fetch this foot up off the floor and they're just about teetering on it and throwing the darts. And I couldn't make him do that. And I thought to myself logically, how can that be stable? That's not stable. And that was the first breakthrough that I thought about was, I'm throwing off one foot. As I'm throwing the dart towards the board, as my arm's going out, my back foot was lifting up off the floor. So that's tantamount to standing on one foot and throwing darts. And I thought to myself, that don't make any sense. So the fact that there is a right way to throw a darts, to me, just is common sense. The other thing is... Right, so now what we're going to do is going to move on to the next question. It's one that, let's say, irks me a little bit sometimes. I don't mind people asking it me, but I just find it a bit childish and a bit silly. Seems like good advice. That's nice enough, isn't it? Yeah, curious. What are his winning statistics on the Pro Tour? I didn't know personally that you had to be a professional player to be a coach. I didn't know you, and I've had this before. You're not a world champion. Well, let me just say this. Tiger Woods has a coach called Chris Como. It's either Chris or Kevin. Chris or Kevin Como. And he has never played a professional game of golf in his life. Yet he's coached somebody who is tantamount, I'd say, to Phil Taylor. So him in golf, Tiger Woods, is probably about the same as what Phil Taylor was to darts. Yet his coach never played a professional game of golf in his life. We've got loads of others. Think about it. Different sports. Right, so any sport, doesn't matter what it is. Let's go to boxing. You think about any world champions that are now coaching? Can you actually think of, let's just say, Mike Tyson? Who was his boxing coach? Was his boxing coach world champion? Because my thoughts for that is, why would he coach Mike Tyson to be world champion when he could be world champion himself? Same with your kids. Your kids have got a PE teacher. So your PE teacher that teaches your children how to play tennis was once a world champion, was it? Or she? Your football coach, maybe you send your kids to football coaching. When your kids go to football coaching, who are they coached by? David Beckham, are they? Or someone like that of that ilk? Because obviously, if they're not, then obviously the coaching must be garbage then, mustn't it? And that's all I'm trying to say is, it's silly to say, what are my professional achievements in darts? It's irrelevant. And what I wanted to do, and what I want to do for you, is I want to fetch normal players or average pub players up, so it fetches all the pub game, all the lower end of the game, fetch that up, and then the elites naturally have to up their game. It's because you've got more people with the potential at the lower end, so the pub end, Super League end, county end, you've got more people there that can challenge to get into the PDC. I've noticed they're doing some rule changes to make it harder. I watched the Edgar TV video earlier on. So they're making it a little bit harder to get into some of the higher ranking competitions, but making it more lucrative. So it's at the bottom end of the scale, they're making it more lucrative for the people who can just about get on that first rung of the ladder. The only problem that you've got is making enough money to actually make a living out of it at the bottom end. It's always been that way. You've still got to either be a plumber or a plasterer or whatever, and you think about it, you're working Monday to Friday, you've got a massive competition on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, on Thursday, and you burn your hand or whatever. That's you knackered, isn't it? You're not. You're not a professional dart player, so you haven't got those sort of protections. If you only play darts, that's the only activity that you're going to get injured at, if you know what I mean, unless you go doing rock climbing and things like that, of course. Hopefully you wouldn't be doing that. Right, so let's get on to the next question. So this is the final one, this one. This is from Ali Abdul, 6513, and his question is, "Hi Dave, I was wondering whether you can overtrain for darts, as I seem to have gotten worse." Hell yeah, of course you can. If you're first coming to darts, or you've been playing darts for 25 years, if you want to start doing it structured and you want to become professional, or you want to become a serious dart player, then it's all about structured practice. And structured practice is strict and limited time sessions. So when you first start playing, what I say to people, 5-10 minutes, chucking at the bullseye, just to get the Dynamite Dave way, make sure you're in the right spot, go away and do something else, whatever it might be, for an hour or two. Then come back and do another 10 or 15 minutes. Then, obviously, once you've done that for, let's say, a week, you can then step it up a bit. So you'll go from 5 to 10 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. So you're doing 15 to 20 minutes. So then you're in the lower end of what I consider to be a normal practice session. Then what you do is, again, like I would do that probably for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month, till you know that you're absolutely fine doing that, and you can play at that sort of time level 2 or 3 times a day and it has no effect on you. You know when it's too much is when you start to go downhill. Because what happens is when you're learning something, so like say you're learning darts, when you're a babby, when you're learning how to walk, when you're doing other things, you're exploring and what have you, when you're a baby, when that information goes into your brain to become from short-term memory to long-term memory, you do things subconsciously. If you want to go and write, you don't think to yourself, now I need to go and pick up a pen, now I need to form the letter A. It just comes naturally. So that is something that's like an unconscious thing. It's subconscious. So you just get on, you just do it. And it's exactly the same with adults, with darts. It don't matter whether it's darts or golf or anything else. When you learn is when you're asleep or when you're not doing it. When you're concentrating on something else, this is a great little one of me. I always think of it like this, because this is how my brain works. I think Maureen comes out and she gets all the right files and she puts all the right files away. Like your mum does when she's done your ironing, or your missus does when she's done your ironing. She comes into the bedroom and she puts them all in right drawers, doesn't she? Well, when you're playing darts or anything, don't matter what it is in your life, when you're doing something, once you finish doing it and you go and sit and relax and you start to watch telly, even subconsciously without thinking about it, Maureen comes out, she starts putting all the files in the right place. And then the following day, you set yourself up, boom, boom. Bloody hell, I've never hit 2 treble 20s before. Look how many groupings come on. Look how many groupings come on. And that doesn't happen while you're doing it. It happens when you're not doing it. It happens when you think, all that information is actually being changed from short term to long term in your brain. It's complicated, but it's really quite interesting. If you actually go and research it on Google, you'll be amazed. And that's when you actually learn, is when you're not actually doing it, or when you're asleep. Right, so that was the last and final question. So, yes, you can over practice, and yes, stop doing it. Don't over practice. Do it structurally. Build it up to a certain level. Like I say, 2 hours a day is more than enough. For anybody who wants to be semi-serious about it, 2 hours is more than enough. As you will see in some of my other videos, for heaven's sake, right, don't just walk into your garage or your bedroom and have 2 or 3 visits and then walk away. Do not do that. Because if those 2 or 3 visits are garbage, Maureen comes in and she puts them files in. And this is where a lot of people don't understand. They think to themselves, well, I can't understand it. I've all of a sudden gone really bad. And then when you actually sit and talk to them and start digging into what they've been doing, 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what they've done. They've been walking through the garage, coming in to they put the car in garage, they've walked past the dartboard, thrown 3 darts at it, had another 3 darts, then carried on into the house to have the tea. No, what you have to do is you have to do structured practice. That's one thing, and it ties in with exactly what I say about the Dynamite Dave way and about darts in general. And it's the closing slogan, isn't it, on every video. You only ever get out of this game what you're prepared to put in. So, if you're prepared to put the time in, if you're prepared to do the structured and constructive practice, instead of just blindly standing there and flinging the darts at the board, believe me, I've heard this 1,000,001 times, and it drives me crackers. People turn around and say, oh yeah, it doesn't matter how you throw darts. If you practice enough, you'll become fantastic at it. No. What was that thing? I think it was Einstein who said it. Yeah, it was one of the famous people anyway. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the very definition of insanity. Because I'm telling you, if you get a straight piece of metal with an hammerhead on top of it and you put an hinge at bottom, right? You let go of it like that, it will keep hitting the nail till it goes into the board. If you do not change that, it will only ever keep hitting that nail and knocking it into the board. If you change it, so if you change the angle of it, it will go off to one side. It'll still repeat the same thing, but every time you make a change, something different happens. If you don't make a change, nothing different happens. It's just the same old rubbish, same old disappointment. So, anyway, thanks for watching. I've really enjoyed making this video for you. I'll do a few more over the next couple of months, hopefully. They've cancelled my appointment for tomorrow. I was supposed to be going to see the surgeons tomorrow to get this my heart sorted out. Now they've put it off again for 2 weeks because of the junior doctor's strike. So I'm going to have to wait another 2 weeks before I actually get an audience with the surgeon. And then I'm thinking what will happen then is I'll get a choice. So I can have a mechanical valve, I can have a cow valve, or I can have a pig valve. And anyway, if I'm having a pig valve, I'll have it done in a week. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, lads and lasses, you'll never get out of this game what you're prepared to put in. And always, totally okay. Wee. I'll have it done in a week. See you again soon, lads and lasses. Ta-ra now.